you doing, Regina?
I'm awesome. I'm awesome. I'm doing the thing, Michael, and that you told me to go on and do the thing.
Hey, I know. Great, great. I knew you'd do well.
Well, I thank you so much for calling into our show. And, today is more of just an introduction to who I am and what we do. So, you know me from a slightly different perspective. For those who don't know, we have a men's division called Living Like a Boss, where BOSS stands for Business, Occupation, Service, and Significance. And Mr. Michael Gaskin has been such an inspiration and a great help to me as we begin to work with our men. So, Michael, just I guess share with everybody, I guess, just how you know me and your thoughts about some of the things we're doing.
Well, as you said, the BOSS program that you put together here in Greenwood, South Carolina, fantastic. And what it really did, I think, the number one thing that it did is brought the brothers together. I mean, the men together. It was so important that men have an opportunity to express themselves, to say, hey, sometimes I just don't know. I need help. And I think that's one of the components that's missing. And BOSS engaged the men to talk about business, to talk about opportunity, and the things that is hindering them from being successful. And I know that I hear so much of it in a program that I do called Real Fathers of Dads, that men want to do well, but sometimes we just haven't been blessed with the opportunity to be successful. And knowing that there are groups and organizations out there willing to grab a hand and say, come on, follow me. Well, not follow me, walk with me. Let's do it. Still say, Regina, it took a sister, a great sister, to put that program together, and you did. And I tell you, thank you. And I know that you will continue to do great work because you're just a great person.
Well, I thank you, Michael Gaskin, because I think about the fact that before the first BOSS event, I'd never met you a day in my life, and you walked into that event and you served our men and our organization like you had known us forever. And I just thank you for your heart for people and everything that we're doing moving forward. So let's talk about Get Your Sassy Bag. You and I have talked a little bit about E-Weight and everything, even though we spend most of our time talking about BOSS. When we've talked about getting your sassy back from, in terms of women, a man's perspective on what it means to get your sassy back. Tell us that, Mr. Gaskin.
Oh, you put me on the spot.
Yes.
Hey, from my perspective, I will honestly say that somewhere along in my life, I lost me. I will say that. But it took some time to rediscover me, to find out really, I guess you can say not rediscover, but find out who I am, who I was, and what I wanted to do with my life, and how I wanted to go about doing it. It was so important that we, as men, take a moment and do a self-evaluation and say, what is it about me that I don't like? What about me that keep my significant other from looking in my eyes and see a positive black man or a person who want to move forward? And in order to do that, first you got to learn to love the person in the mirror, and that person, you got to be in love with that person in the mirror. So I think that number one thing, in order to get your sassy, is that first you got to rediscover who you are and learn to love yourself.
Absolutely. And, that's one of my biggest messages to women as I travel, Michael, that they begin to love themselves, because so often a lack of self-love or a lack of self-worth leads to some of the bad decisions that we make or some of the things that we accept in our lives. If we really love ourselves, then we want the best for ourselves, and we take care of ourselves, and we allow people in our space who respect that about us. So it is important, number one, that we look in the mirror and begin to love ourselves. There's something else I want you to speak on while you're on the phone, because this is something that I believe just about every conversation we've ever had, you've talked about. Talk about the importance of communication, not just, with woman to woman or man to man, but just in general. How important is our communication with each other?
Well, Regina, every problem in this world, no matter what it is, only can be solved one way, and that's through communication, not talking. That's good at is talking. But communication, as It takes a sender, a receiver, and it takes feedback. And more importantly, it takes listening. And we have to, whether it's from a male, a relationship standpoint, or whether it's just communicating with our children, or just, or just in the work environment, we have to communicate, not just talk. I call it that so often that people talk so much, it's almost like singing a spiritual. We all know the words to the song, but nevertheless, we don't never listen to the words to the song to see what the message truly is. And I just feel so strongly about that we have to be better communicators. I mean, that's why relationships don't work, because it's just a bunch of talking. It's not a bunch of communicating. And there comes a time when you have to communicate. I mean, what I mean by that is, just because you're ready to communicate don't mean that the other person is ready to communicate. You have to make sure that we both are ready to, one ready to listen, the other one ready to communicate, to talk, and that we are willing to respect each other's views.
Yes.
I mean, if I'm already mad from the start, I'm not going to listen to you. So we need to make sure that we're ready to communicate. And that's the same thing. We always, when I grew up, it was like, do as I say, do, my parents used to say. But later on, I realized that my father and my mother became better communicators when I reflected later on in life. But they would let me express myself, and they would provide feedback. That's something that we don't do, and that's the cause of so many downfalls in relationships, is that people just won't communicate.
Well, I believe that's one of the things that I've learned most from my time that I've spent with you, just the importance of communication in every area of our lives. And I think as we continue this show, Michael, I want to have you back on and let's have a conversation about communication, if that makes sense. And really get into that, because that's the one area, again, that you said that touches on everything else that we do in our lives. But do you have any parting thoughts, any final words for our sassy women this morning?
Well, I'll tell you what, one thing I want to say, I think the greatest thing that God gave to this world is women. And I'm not just saying that because I'm on the air or whatever. I really, truly believe that, our women are the envy of the world. I just tell you that we're so great to see that you are attempting to find and work with sisters and anyone who are willing to say, hey, how can I get myself back? Because when you talk about being sassy, you're talking about getting yourself back. Because, all of us have that sassiness in us. All of us have greatness deep within us. And sometimes, because of life, we allow life to beat us up. Life don't beat us up. We allow life to beat us up. Mm-hmm. And when we do that, sometimes we need to be restored. And I'm so glad, Regina, because one thing I can say about you, you get it done. You are a great person. You're not a good person. You quit being good as far as I know a long time ago. You're a great person. And I think that you must be the spearhead and greatness into the people that you serve. I mean, I just think so much of you, and I know you're going to do a great job, and no matter what you do. And I know this radio show going to be awesome. Who knows? Maybe the next Oprah, huh?
Hi, Michael Guest. Well, I thank you, Michael, so much for calling in and for all your support. And we're definitely going to have you back on, because we're looking at doing a Living Like a Boss segment. And we'll have you come on and talk to our men and bless our men. I want all of my boss men from that event to really get on the air and share with our other men. So I thank you, brother, and I love you. We'll be in touch.
Hey, love you too. And, and may I say one little thing before I leave?
Yes.
I know I've been missing the communication with you, and I apologize. We will talk, a lot going on, a lot of positive stuff going on. So we'll talk real soon.
All right, brother. Have a great day.
Courtesy to my head and not to my heart.
Absolutely. Love you.
Love you too.
All right. Bye. Yes, everybody, that was Mr. Michael Gaskin out of Greenwood, South Carolina, the founder of Greenwood First Steps. We've got another call. Let's see who's on the line.